Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to have another afternoon live reading session with you. I think the only people who are watching right now are my mom and my sister, which is great. I can see that there's one person watching. Great. Well, that's perfect because that's really the only reason I wanted to do this today on what is a very special day. Ostensibly, it's a very special day because today is my sister's birthday, which I'm very excited about. So I wanted to start off this little live reading session with uh, a little song to wish my sister a happy birthday. If you can't hear me, I don't know. So like, please chat in the window and tell me that like I'm too loud or I'm too quiet or I don't look handsome enough or whatever. Um, and that's also where you'll be asking me questions in a little while. But yeah, so I wanted to start today by wishing my beautiful, amazing sister, who I love very dearly, a very happy birthday. And I wanted to do that by singing a birthday song that I wrote myself because I think that the birthday song that we have is way too boring. So I wrote a little birthday song, which I actually wrote while I was on the Camino de Santiago, on one of my favorite days on the Camino. And I wrote my own birthday song, and I sing it now to all my friends. So, Carly, if you're watching, and I hope that you are, because this is for you, I wanted to sing you a happy birthday song to wish you a very happy birthday. So, this will only take about 1 minute and 30 seconds, and then we're going to get cracking with the Camino Journal. So, here we go. A one and a two and a 1, 2, 3. Oh my God, it's your birthday once again. So here I am singing from my lonely apartment. I'm singing about a girl called Carly Kay, and she's one of my very best friends. And if you ask me if she is great, well, I'd have to say that just depends. It just depends. I mean, do you like really smart, funny, hilarious, chill women? Do you like people who are extraordinarily picky eaters, but who never make it your problem that they're a picky eater? Do you like people who are willing to eat hamburgers that come out of a microwave that have been in that deep freezer for God knows how many years? Do you like people who are super chill and can take care of themselves and who don't get angry at you when you force them to ride a bike drunk and they smash their face as a result and it's definitely your fault? Do you like people who know how to have a laugh but also know how to sit and be quiet and just enjoy the silence? Because if you like all of those things, then Carly is a really great woman. Oh my God, it's your birthday once again. So here I am singing from my lonely apartment. Ooh. Happy birthday, Carly. Yay. I'm very happy that you exist. And I'm really happy that you're watching today and that I got to sing you happy birthday. So for all of you who just joined us, all three of you, it's my sister's birthday today. So I just sang her happy birthday. If you want to write her a happy birthday message in the chat, you feel free. I'm sure she'd really enjoy it. Great. So now that I have sung happy birthday to my wonderful sister, I want to start, getting into the reading of the Camino Journal. So I thought today I would just read 3 pretty short entries, and they're all, well, 2 of them are from before I actually set out on the Camino de Santiago, and one of them is from the 3rd day of the Camino, which is one of my favorite entries. I don't really know why. I think I was just kind of getting the hang of the Camino, and it felt like a fun day. So those are the 3. I'm going to read 3 entries. If at any point you have a question or you would like to say something, feel free to chat, and I will happily stop between the chapters to answer your questions if you have any. And we're just going to get started right away. So let's cut to day T-5. So 5 days before I left for the Camino de Santiago, I was feeling pretty worried, pretty scared about doing it. I was feeling pretty unsure that I don't know if I need to get closer, or does that sound good? Can someone type that I sound good just so I know? So before I left for the Camino de Santiago, I was feeling pretty scared about it. I was really putting a lot of pressure on myself to be able to complete it. It was something that I'd wanted to do for such a long time. So the idea that I wouldn't complete it was really eating me up inside, and I was really, really worried. But and there were just a few things that were kind of bothering me, just a few little details that were particular worries that I had. And I wrote a little bit about them in this entry. Today, I have managed to rekindle excitement about my trip. What had become a mixture of stress and fear has been warped into a sense of excitement and readiness. I gave up on the shoes I had originally bought for the trip. They were too small. And after asking a handful of friends who are hikers or have actually done parts of the trail what they thought about my predicament, I decided to get rid of them. The general consensus was go with what your feet know. And I know that my mom is listening to that and she's going, "Oh yeah, that's great advice. Go with what your feet know." Good. Thank you, Carly. I do sound great. That's nice. Um, yeah, so go with what your feet know. I was fortunate to have the chance to speak with Emil Lamprecht, a friend and avid hiker who has scaled major peaks in over. They're made for tough terrains, but are light and made for running on trails, and will be more than adequate enough for the Camino. I've worn them all day without issue, apart from the unceasing looks they are attracting from aghast passers-by, who clearly can't believe anyone would be so bold as to break the Berlin black rule so flagrantly. So, my biggest fear about this trip, having adequate footwear for my only mode of transport on the trail, has, at least for now, been assuaged. Next, my fear of the hordes of people on the Camino Frances. Currently, over 50,000 people are on that trail during the month of August alone. The albergues along the route house between 100 and 200 people at a time. Getting a bed means getting up early and trying to beat the crowds of people there. I've been very worried about this. Today, I decided at the behest of Michelle, a friend and musician from Austin, who has walked the Camino Frances twice. After giving me some advice on the footwear issue, she changed gears to outright begging me to reconsider my choice of path. She claims that in August, the trail becomes a veritable Disneyland, flooded with so many people as to render the solitude of the journey all but non-existent. I've decided to forgo the Camino Frances for the Camino del Norte, the North Road. Situated about 82 kilometers to the north of El Camino Frances, El Camino del Norte runs along the Spanish coast, sandwiched between the Cantabrian Mountains to the south and the Bay of Biscay to the north. While the scenes are meant to be breathtaking, including idyllic deserted beaches and green forests green forests blowing in the ocean breeze, its hilliness is quite intimidating to most, and its pilgrim infrastructure not being quite as abundant as on El Camino Frances, it scares the majority of people from embarking upon it. That said, the infrastructure is still excellent, and it should be less busy than the Camino Frances. So I will embark instead upon this lesser traveled road, thus alleviating fear number 2. So now there's nothing left to do but find a guide and get going. Today, I unpacked my bag, double-checked my checklist, and repacked. I'm as ready as I'm going to be, and it feels good to be excited about it again. All my lovin', Blake. So that was 5 days before the Camino. And we're going to move to the next chapter. As you can see, I was pretty worried about my footwear, and I was worried about which Camino to take, because for those of you who don't know, the Camino is not really one path. It's a series of paths that all lead to Santiago de Compostela, which is a city in the northwestern corner of Spain. And one of them, the Camino Frances, is the most well-known one. It's also the most, it has the best infrastructure. So it's the one that has the most people. But again, according to my friend, it's just a Disneyland. So it's not exactly ideal for people who are looking to maybe in the peak months have a bit more of like a soulful, solitary experience. So I decided instead to take the Camino del Norte, which we'll read more about. And before we go there, I wanted to skip to day -1. So this is 1 day before I actually started the Camino. So it took me like 2 full days to get from Berlin to the place where I started the Camino. And I had to fly from Berlin to Paris. Then I spent the whole day in Paris because I had to wait for a bus. I think my plane arrived at 9:30, and then my bus left at like 10:30 at night. So I killed a whole day in Paris. Then I took an overnight bus to a city called Bayonne. And in that city, I had to kill another full day before actually getting a train to a city called Irún, which is where the Camino actually starts in Spain. The Camino del Norte, that is. Hi, everybody who's saying hello to me. Great to see you all. Oh, someone is here who is actually on the Camino with me, which is really nice. Thanks for joining. So I'm just reading about the day before I started. And this is me just killing some time in a city called Bayonne, France. It's a very small city. There's absolutely nothing going on, but it is a beautiful little city. So I'll just read a little bit about what it was like to kill time before actually getting on the Camino. And just to give you some context, I hadn't slept in like 3 days. I was exhausted. I was really nervous about starting the Camino, and there was just like that, that gnawing feeling. Closer and closer, you get more and more nervous. That's how I was feeling this whole day, just like waiting for the train that left and took me to Irun so I could go and see if I was going to be able to actually find a bed to sleep in or a hostel to go to. That's what I was feeling as I wrote this at like, I don't know, 10 in the morning or 12 in the afternoon. So day T-1 of the Camino. Sunday, August 20th, 2017, Bayonne, France. Today has been the second day of killing time, and though it has been nice, I must admit it has gone by much slower than I would like, and certainly much slower than it did in Paris. This is probably partly because Bayonne is a tiny medieval city, not a bustling metropolis. Because after yet another sleepless night, this time on a bus, I'm even more exhausted than I was yesterday. And partly because my anxiety and excitement about the journey ahead has left me less patient than I was yesterday. The overnight bus from Paris to Bayonne, a journey southwest of about 10 and a half hours, would have passed without incident were it not for my complete inability to catch a moment's sleep. Normally, I sleep like a log on all forms of public transport, but I was seated in the very front of the bus, which meant, 1, I had no seats under which to stretch my legs. 2, seated directly over the tires, I felt every bump on the road. Number 3, no seats in front of me. All the lights of the oncoming cars were blinding me every 3 seconds. So I learned an important lesson. Never sit at the very front of the bus. When we arrived, I ate an apple and a banana. I was certain Emma. So I'm going to check this to make sure my grandma is able to watch. Wait 1 second. Thank you all for being so patient. Was it my grandma? It was my grandma. Wait, there she is. Hi, Grandma. Have you found the link that I sent you? Grandma, can you hear me? Grandma? Grandma!
I'm struggling, but yes, I'm there.
Are you okay?
You almost got me in tears. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, well, that's nice of you to call me in the middle of this. My sister is dying laughing. Grandma, I would love to talk, but I have to go because I'm live on the internet, All right, I love you, Grandma. Bye. Well, I love you, Grandma. Thanks for calling in the middle of this. It's great. I feel like a telethon, you know what I mean, where people call in and it's like, oh, we're asking for donations to keep our public broadcast television alive. Please keep the Camino Journal alive. Send in your calls, send in your donations. We are accepting donations. I just need like a celebrity guest here to to make an appearance and be like, yes, the Camino Journal, it's a worthy cause. Now, where was I? Yes. Here we go. So I was just in a public bathroom where I brushed my hair and flossed my teeth. Yeah, that's part of the joy of the Camino is you have to get, you become a dirty hippie. You don't have a choice. Like wherever you can brush your teeth and brush your hair, you do it. That's the amenities are few and far between sometimes. So when we arrived, I ate an apple and a banana and was in a sunny square. I spent the rest of the day wandering in and out of the winding streets of this quaint, beautiful medieval city. In the morning, there was hardly a soul stirring, today being Sunday after all, so my stroll along the shuttered boutique shops selling any number of French specialties to beach-going tourists was accompanied only by the faint sound of organ playing and hymn singing emanating from the city's gorgeous cathedral, where Sunday service was being held. I'm stuttering a little bit because my handwriting is very small and hard to read, and I would show it to you, but you can see it's quite small. So thanks for being patient. I was far less emotional today and far less pensive, reflective than I normally am, perhaps because I'm just too damn tired to think. I had the pleasure of visiting a photo exhibition of a series of photos taken during Alfred Hitchcock's first visit to San Sebastian and Bayonne in the 50s, when his film The Cold Sisters premiered at the San Sebastian Film Festival. The full and fashionless as my own, it was the seashells strapped to their backpacks that gave them away. Easy to approach and speak to people, as it gives us something to connect us. So I'd like to get one myself to help open myself up even more to the people I meet along the way. reinvigorated by the sight of these pilgrims, not least because they were twice my age, which arrogantly makes me feel slightly more confident in my capacity as a pilgrim. Their appearance also awoke in me the fear of not getting a bed tonight when I finally go to Irun. I'm desperate for a decent night's sleep. Still, if I have to sleep in a back alley tonight, I think I'll be fine with it. My latest and perhaps greatest concern is my left knee. If I didn't know yet that I'm getting old, I certainly do after writing that sentence. I injured my left knee on May 1st, May Day in Berlin, when returning home from the festivities at Görlitzer Park. I was eager to get home, and in the darkness I walked full speed into a trailer hitch directly in the soft flesh beneath the kneecap. I could put no pressure on it for a few weeks, but apart from kneeling, it never really gave me any trouble. The kneeling has slowly but surely gotten better, but in the last few days before the trip, I noticed it began hurting a bit when I go up and down stairs. This same pain is over the course of the next 30 days, I'm meant to be going up and down any number of hills, mountains, and cathedral steps, which will only magnify and exacerbate the problem. Still, I'm reminding myself that worry is often a waste of energy. It represents fear of a thing that hasn't happened yet, and often represents fear of a thing that may never happen at all. Instead of worrying, I'm trying to remind myself that in the worst case scenario, I get no bed and my knee will keep hurting. So I'll just rent a hostel and buy some walking sticks when I get to San Sebastian. In the meantime, I'll cross my fingers and hope for the best. All my lovin', Blake. So that is day T-1. That was just before I actually started walking on the Camino. And now I want to skip to one more little chapter before I open it up to any questions you might have. And you feel free to ask any questions you might have as I'm reading. If something comes up and you're like, that's interesting, I want to know about that, just ask a question. We have one question, which is it me or are we all experiencing buffering problems? I don't know the answer to that question. So if anyone knows the answer to that question, feel free to respond. I hope that you're not experiencing buffering problems. But if you are, we can thank Germany for their wonderful internet. So I'm going to skip ahead to day number 3 on the Camino. So this is 3 days into the Camino, where I started to kind of feel like I was getting the hang of what it meant to be on the Camino. I still hadn't slept. It had been like 6 days since I think at this point I hadn't slept a wink in like 7 days. I was absolutely exhausted, but it was a really nice day anyway. So I wanted to just share very briefly about it. So here we go. Day 3, Wednesday, August 23rd, 2017. I went from Zarautz to Deba, which is a very small city on the northern coast of Spain with a beautiful little beach. 10:15 p.m. So I wrote this at the very end of the night. The life of the pilgrim is very simple. Wake, walk, wash self, wash clothes, wait, sleep, repeat. I suppose it's this simplicity that makes it so beautiful, that makes the pilgrim open himself or herself to new thoughts and new people. There's really nothing else to distract you from the people you meet along the way and the things that pop into your head. This simplicity truly lightens the spiritual load on the heart. Travel, for all the ways in which it is glorified, is actually quite stressful. There's always a bus to catch or a flight to get to, or an item that might be robbed or luggage to be lost. But on the Camino, these burdens don't exist. I have nothing worth stealing unless there's a rogue thief with a dirty sock fetish roaming the Camino. There's no transit to worry about missing unless your feet might wander off without you. There's no need to worry about getting lost unless you never learned how arrows work and what they mean. There's nothing to do but walk, and nowhere to be except on El Camino. Such simplicity is a rarity, and such prolonged simplicity is unheard of. The only real concern is how to fill the time between arriving at the albergue and crawling gleefully into your sleeping bag. And frankly, I found that time incredibly easy to fill. Firstly, everything takes so much longer than usual. Body and mind arrive to the albergue so worn down that neither is functioning at more than 60% capacity. Everything is done slowly, carefully, and in a sleepy daze. It's only after I find myself stopping for the 3rd time in the middle of a task to ask myself, wait, what was I doing? That I think I realize how tired I am. It's only when I realize that what I was doing was looking worriedly for one of my items, each a precious tool vital for my journey, which I had in my hand the whole time, that I actually realize how tired I am. The sloth-like movements of life between arrival and sleep still find a rhythm, a ritual, a routine. Humans love routine. So after arriving, washing, I still have so much I want to do before bed. I want to meditate, talk to people, edit and organize my photos, slowly enjoy a well-deserved beer. It's a struggle to get it all in, but what a beautiful struggle it is. Literally filling your day with things you love, every day for 35 days. What a pleasure. What a series of simple, sweet pleasures this journey is. Today was a hard walk. The road was the easiest yet, but I was feeling weak and tired after 5 days of fairly intense travel and as many utterly sleepless nights. Still, it was a wonderful day. I feel so open and free to be myself. I stop and I meet everyone I pass. I stop and meet everyone I pass. I know the name of so many people I pass or meet in the hostel. I'm beginning to lose that anxiety that has gripped every social interaction for so long. The need to dampen my personality for the benefit of the people I encounter feels left behind in. This is who I am. I hope you like it. If not, I won't apologize, but I understand, and I invite you to seek a more fitting interaction. This is who I am, and it is who I'm going to be, because it's who I desire to be. And in spite of this unapologetic approach to being myself, I've never felt more warmly received or more genuinely appreciated. So, how many names did you get today? I was asked. Do you know everyone on this Camino? I was asked. I'm beginning to feel like I do. And I'm beginning to allow them to know me, just as I'm beginning to really know myself. I bought a knee brace today and cured my first blister. The Camino is difficult and everything hurts, from my feet to my hands to my shoulders. And it is really a joy. I have to remind myself to write about a lesson in compassion I was given today. I swam in the gorgeous water on Deba's tiny beach for a solid hour and drank 3 beers with Susie, a Hungarian woman my age with whom I will attempt to 50 people in this albergue still awake. I pray I can finally sleep tonight. If not, El Camino will be waiting for me at 5 a.m. anyway. I can't wait. All my lovin', Blake. So that was day 3 of the Camino journal. So thanks so much for tuning in and listening to my stories from the Camino. And I'd love to open the floor up to anyone who has a question about me, about the Camino, about the coronavirus, about random trivia that you'd like to quiz me on. If you've got a question, feel free to ask away, and I'll be happy to answer it. Or if you've got a comment or just something you'd like to share, please. We would all love to hear from you, all 8 of us. Let's see. So here we have Ana Maura saying, that was definitely the feeling I had with you when I first met you, that you were the one who knew everybody in every language. That's so nice of you. Yeah, it was weird. You know, I think somehow I actually struggle quite a lot with social situations, and I actually have quite a lot of social anxiety. And because I'm a performer and I'm an actor and I do a lot of, you know, I've always worked with people, I'm good at faking it. But basically every interaction that I have is like just crippling social anxiety. And I find myself very often kind of wishing I could just melt into the background. But on the Camino, it was really, I just decided to open myself up, and I thought, I'm here to meet people. I'm here to make a connection with human beings that I don't know, and I want to learn from people, and I'm only going to do that if I can be myself. And I really somehow found for the first time the ability to just compassionately accept who I was, you know, like this is the guy that I am. And I think the most important thing is it's not just like an accident that this is who I am. This is who I choose to be. This is who I want to be. So why would I apologize for that? Or why would I like shirk away from that or shy away from being myself? And if anyone doesn't want to be around that, well, that's the great thing about the Camino. Anyone you don't like, you just go, buen Camino, and you just keep on walking. So, you know, no one's like stuck hanging out with you. And I think that knowing people can take you or leave you really helped me to sort of open up and just be myself. Ken Graham, if anyone else has a question, please feel free to ask away. I would like to say that there's great news. The Camino Journal is actually finished. It's actually technically published and online. Thank you. There's the next question. When is the book coming out and on what platform? So initially I'm going to release it as an ebook and an audiobook on Amazon. because it's just the easiest way to do it, and it's the most widely distributed. So the ebook is actually finished already. I've finished it and actually published it, and it's online, and you could purchase it now if you wanted to. But I'll wait to announce that officially when the audiobook is ready. So the ebook is ready to go, which I'm super proud of. I'm now officially a published author. Who knew? What a great thing to be able to put on my CV. The ebook will be also released through Amazon, through Audible, which is a subsidiary of Amazon, and you'll be able to get it all from the same page. And the ebook or the audiobook I've recorded, everything is done. Trust me, it's much nicer to listen to than me trying to read my chicken scratch. It's really, I was very pleased with the quality of it. And it's going to be ready soon. I'm still waiting on like a quality assurance check. So basically they're just going over it and listening to it and making sure it meets their standards, and then they'll publish it and it'll be live. Should be out and ready to go, I hope, by the end of April. And I will be sure to keep people posted as we get closer and closer to that date. And I'm going to have a little release party. Even if there's coronavirus, I'm going to have a digital release party. We'll do it on YouTube. You can come, bring your friends. We'll have a great time. So it hopefully should be out by the end of April, which I'm very, very excited about. Audiobooks make you fall asleep with especially with my kind of voice, not boring, just soothing. Well, I'm glad that it's soothing. I think this is something that I'm doing more and more of. For anyone who cares to know, I've started getting more and more into voice acting and into reading. So currently I work for a company called, the international broadcasting agency Deutsche Welle, and I do reading and narrating for them. So narrated everything from documentaries about, I've started doing some freelance work for YouTube channels, as well as meditation apps where I read bedtime stories to people. And I also have a podcast, an improv podcast, which I've put on hold for the moment to finish the Camino Journal. But now that it's finished, I'm going to bring that back up and get it back up and be bringing you some improv fun and joy. And I also have a new project coming up soon with a friend of mine, Jazz, who may or may not be watching. And if you are, Jazz, I had so much fun today when we're working on our project. I won't say more about it, but just know that there's some really delicious, juicy podcast vibes coming your way, which I'm really, really, really pumped about. Great. So it is officially 7:02. Unless anyone has a last minute question, I'm going to draw this lovely session to a close. Thank you all so much for being here with me. I've really enjoyed reading to all of you. As I said, the book is going to be out as an ebook and an audiobook on Amazon. I'll be sure to link it in all my social media. And if you have any other questions that you were too shy to ask today in front of this massive audience of wonderful humans, please feel free just to send me a message, a DM on Facebook or on Instagram at Blake Farha. I'm the only Blake Farha on the planet, so you can find me pretty easily. And if you type my name into Google, you'll find my college graduation speech. It comes right up. It's something I'm actually kind of embarrassed about these days. When I read back on it, I'm like, oh, young Blake. Anyhow, thank you all so much for joy to read to you. I'm going to do this again because I find it so lovely. And in these crazy times, I think we could use a little more positivity and hope in the world. And I think that's what this Camino Journal represents. So I'll be sure to keep you all posted as more news from the Camino Journal comes. Thanks again for watching today and for being with me today. And I look forward to sharing this little journal with you all very, very soon. Thanks again and have a wonderful day. And thank you, Grandma, so much for calling in. That might be the best thing that happened to me all week. Oh, and one last thank you. Thank you, Carly, for being born. And thanks for being the amazing, wonderful sister that you are. I absolutely love you. And I feel so, so lucky to have you in my life. And I can't wait until we get to hang out and have some laughs again. And Mom, thank you for giving her birth. That was really nice of you. All right. Bye, everyone. Have a wonderful afternoon. And we'll talk to you soon.